Okay, let's see book three. I've been listening to this guy for a couple of weeks now, but most of his things are bullshit. Like literally, he literally sees basic life having slaves and a villa at the sea at the base of a human um, function, as if there is more to want. He literally takes pride in not concerned about the beauty of his slaves. So, yeah, as if everything else is guaranteed. I literally studied law for 7 years to find the systematic hack that everyone is, at least everyone enjoys the food and shelter and everything um, as the basic of a human function. But funny enough, here I am about to lose my own shelter and soon run out of food as well. So yeah, the irony is delicious. But yeah, um, we ought not only to remember that life is wearing off and a smaller part of it is left daily, but also to consider that if a man's life should happen to be longer than ordinary, yet it is uncertain whether his mind will keep pace with his years, and afford him sense enough for business and power to contemplate things human and divine. Yeah, this guy is so full of shit, but one of my kind of strength that I like about myself is that even someone is 99% full of shit, by the law of statistics, even that person has 1% thing to learn from. And this guy hopefully has more than 1%, but at least the 1% is worth the hassle. That's most of the books. Most of the books I read are just a bunch of bullshit, but I read a lot of them because that's the 1% makes the whole book worth reading. But yeah, for if the man begins to dote, it is true the mere animal life goes on. He may breathe and be nourished and be furnished with imagination and appetite. See, this guy literally doesn't comprehend that nourishment and furnished and shelter and everything are not guaranteed in life. But for a Roman emperor, of course, these are guaranteed. But yeah. But to make any proper use of himself, to fill up the measure of his duty, to distinguish appearances, and to know whether it is time for him to walk out of the world or not. As to all such noble functions of reason and judgment, the man is perfectly dead already. It concerns us, therefore, to push forward and make the most of our matters, for death is continually advancing, and besides that, our understanding sometimes dies before us. Okay? Uh, Pretty straightforward so far, but okay. It is worthwhile to observe that the least thing that happens naturally to things natural has something in itself that is pleasing and delightful. Thus, for example, there are cracks and little breaks on the surface of a loaf, which, though never intended by the baker, have a sort of agreeableness in them, which invites the appetite. Thus, figs, when they are most ripe, open and gape, and olives, when they fall of themselves and are near decaying, are particularly pretty to look at. The bending of an ear of a corn, the brow of a lion, the foam of a boar. I literally read that a beer, but okay. and many other things, if you take them singly, are far enough from being beautiful, but when they are looked on as effects of the products of nature, help to adorn and attract. Thus, if a man has but inclination and thought enough to examine the product of the universe, he will find the most unpromising appearances in the results of nature, not without charm, and that the more remote appendages have somewhat to recommend them. What the actual fuck is he talking about? I understand the beauty is in everything and you don't assign beauty to something, but where is he going with this? One thus prepared will be no less pleased to see the gaping jaws of living beasts than the imitations of painters and sculptors, and with chastened eyes, chastened eyes, he will find beauty in the ripeness of age as well as in the blossom of youth. Okay, that's basically coping of your bodily deterioration. No one is happy by growing old and literally going from 10 hours of sleep to 4 hours of agonizing to fucking take a shit. That literally doesn't make any fucking sense. I okay. He wrote this when he was like 40 something years old, so he didn't actually feel the weight of age, because 40 is what, like barely barely scratching the surface of bodily dysfunctioning. I grant many of these things will not charm everyone, but only those who are truly in harmony with nature and her works. Hippocrates, who cured so many diseases, himself fell ill and died. The Chaldeans, who foretold other people's death, at last met with their own fate. Alexander, Pompey, and Julius Caesar, who had destroyed so many towns and cut off so many thousands of horse and foot in the field, were forced at last to march off themselves. Heraclitus, who argued so much about the universal conflagration, died through water by a dropsy. Democritus was eaten up with vermin. Another sort of vermin destroyed Socrates. What are these instances for? Look, have you embarked? You have made your voyage and your port. Debark then, without more ado. If you happen to land upon another world, there will be gods enough to take care of you. But if it be your fortune to drop into nothing, okay, this guy is passive suicidal, but okay. Why? Then you will be no more solicited with pleasure and pain. Okay, I actually share the same idea with this guy, that he literally goes back to the same thing. He literally says, okay, we're dying, time doesn't make sense in the universal aspect, but that's poetry and poetic and everything, that everyone says, who the fuck are you in the vast universe? But the stupidity of this sentence is just beyond me, because you don't live in the universe outside, you live in the universe inside. There is literally 7 or 8 layers of brain processing time internally, with dopamine, with pattern recognition, with everything, that people who don't know their minds and they don't even understand the processing of time externally and internally, they literally say, okay, I'm but an ink in the universe. Yeah, you are but an ink in the universe, but you still have to fucking eat. You still have fucking pain. You still have fucking pleasure. You still have fucking 50 layers of hormones processing time internally rather than externally. It doesn't matter if the universe is just a garden or is just a fucking vast universe that we have. You don't live in the universe. I remember I had this cone at, or just a puzzle, let's call it. A cone is not a puzzle, but yeah. The cone that I presented to my friend was, I was 15. I presented this cone to a friend of mine that if you could traverse and you could voyage the whole universe in an instant, and you would be omnipresent, that any moment of time, any place in the universe, without any limitations, you would be at will. The universe would be just your room, because your room is your room because of your accessibility to it. You literally take a walk and the whole room is done, and you have the control over the room. It doesn't matter how large the room is, unless in comparison to your kind of ability to traverse it. The universe could be fucking a box, and you would be, in comparison to this objective box, a molecule of it, that in a sense you still are billion times smaller than the universe. So you don't have the ability to control your kind of trajectory in it, you know? But people literally saying, okay, everyone dies. Why kill yourself? Why rush to death? Or if anyone dies, why even look for fame, look for whatever? Because how you process things is literally internally. You literally agonize through less pleasant experiences because you linger on every single moment, you know? But people literally call it, oh, after, a friend of mine literally said, we die anyways, then why people kill themselves? He doesn't even fucking understand. People kill themselves because the cognitive load or the physical pain loading on them is just so unbearable that you just literally want to cut the agonizing 100 years of agony through one day, and you just rush ahead. People don't understand that, because people like this guy are just either so ignorant that they don't even understand how their brain processes information, how themselves have a relationship with the outside world reflected in their inside world, and not to mention are just so fully satisfied in their senses that, like this guy, feel like being bred, being fed, having slaves, having fucking whatever. It just comes naturally with life, you know? It doesn't. But yeah. Then you will have done drudging for your outer covering, which is the more unworthy in proportion as that which serves it is worthy. For the one is all soul, intelligence, and divinity, whereas the other is but dirt and corruption. I get his point that, sure, your soul is literally shackled by your body, but you still live within the rules of this shackled body, like it or not. For the future, do not spend your thoughts upon other people unless you are led to it by common interest. For the prying into foreign business that is musing upon the talk, fancies, and controversies of another, and guessing at the what and why of his actions, does but make a man forget himself. I totally agree with this shit, because 5 to 6 months that I don't even scroll even 1 second on socials, I literally create and consume nothing. My consumption is literally reading shit. So, and it's not even consumption, it's just fueling my own understanding of writing and human consciousness and whatever. So basically, he literally has this thing that says, uh, I don't know if it was like in book one, book two, or books ahead, but he literally says that if a man thinks about another's life, by default he's gonna be unhappy by comparison. But if he doesn't, he's not gonna be unhappy because of lack of comparison. But he literally doubles down on this, that I really love this kind of thread of thought, that I say literally, even 1% out of one book is worth reading, because that 1% compiles over time. And truth is one, the truth doesn't change. And 1% from one book reflected in 10 other books is compiling and is deepening in your subconscious as part of your identity rather than just reading material. He literally goes deeper and says, but he who doesn't think about himself by default is gonna be unhappy because he doesn't even know himself. That's such a profound kind of insight, because even recently that I'm starting to write more and more, from 5 hours to 10 hours or more a day, I'm really like, I am not even fascinated by fucking other distractions. I used to date a lot. I used to fucking consume a lot of shit, like go out or fucking squeeze into any kind of social interaction and everything. But I realized, okay, none of these people are actually my people. And my people are either dead, or I still yet to have the pedigree of accessibility to those people. So, meantime, I literally know myself better. Write, read, and just see what happens while consuming lives of other people who are worth reading on rather than not. Because a billionaire playboy at age of 30 or 35 is not gonna teach me anything about humanity or human condition. But reading on fucking emperor, philosopher, although I disagree with like 70% of his bullshit thing because of his condition and his way of living, but the 30% is still gonna be better than scrolling on fucking TikTok over people who don't know themselves to begin with. But yeah, where is it? So I really agree with this, that you need to think about yourself rather than other people's lives. And as he literally said it, unless that's thinking about other people's lives, in my case, reading on people who are worth a name in the history, in my niche, in my industry, or in my interests, philosophy, psychology, writers, everything. Those are the shared interest for me. So it benefits me. It benefits my own way of living. But scrolling on someone else's performative life is not gonna teach me anything about living mine. And I'm baffled like that. It took me like, I'm 25 years old. It took me 25 years, not 25 years, but to this point to realize, why the fuck am I even scrolling on fucking TikTok, fucking Instagram, fucking YouTube? If I need the information, I go look up. We have fucking AI these days. I go look up AI. I go fucking read books. I go fucking look up a video when I actually need that shit, rather than fucking religiously scrolling on Instagram or TikTok or fucking what is it? YouTube. I used to like fucking watch YouTube for 6 hours a day. What the actual fuck, you know? I literally have barely time to write and read. My priority is literally writing. I write 10 hours a day, and the time by the time I literally want to read, I'm running out of the day. I literally have to postpone it to the next day. And people literally are overstuffing their lives with other people's lives, and they're just so fucking happy about it because of the fucking dopamine rush it gives. I don't fucking understand it, but yeah. For the future, do not spend your thoughts upon other people. Okay, I read this. He ought therefore not to work his mind to no purpose, nor throw a superfluous link into the chain of thought, and more especially to avoid curiosity and malice in his inquiry. Accustom yourself, therefore, to think upon nothing but what you could freely reveal, if the question were put to you, so that if your soul were thus laid open, there would nothing appear but what was sincere, good natured, and public spirited, not so much as one voluptuous or luxurious fancy, nothing of hatred, envy, or unreasonable suspicion, nor aught else which you could not bring to the light without blushing. Okay, this guy is cognitively boxing himself, which is fine because that's how his brain is wired, and yeah, I understand that to some extent. A man thus qualified, who does not delay to assume the first rank among mortals, is a sort of priest and minister of the gods, and makes a right use of the deity within him. By the assistance thereof, he is preserved uninfected with pleasure, invulnerable against pain, out of the reach of injury, and above the malice of evil people. Okay, this is Cap. My guy lived in a palace, and based on what I read upon him, he didn't have serious injuries during his lifetime. So he's literally talking out of his ass, but yeah. Thus he wrestles in the noblest fight to hold his own against all his passions, and penetrated with the spirit of justice, welcomes with his whole heart all that happens and is allotted to him. He never minds other people's speech, thoughts, or actions unless public necessity and general good requires it. No, he keeps himself to his own business, and contemplates that portion of the whole allotted to him by the fates, and endeavors to the first as it should be, and believes that his lot is good. Okay, your lot is actually good, bitch, because you're a born fucking emperor. So, yeah, what the fuck you gonna be kind of bitching about? But yeah, for every man's fate is suitable, since it is suited to him. Yeah. He considers that the rational principle is akin in all men, and that general kindness and concerns for the whole world is no more than a piece of human nature, that not every one's good opinion is not worth the gaining, but only that of those who seek to live in accordance with nature. As for others, he knows their way of living, both at home and abroad, by day and by night, and their companions in their evil way of life, and he bears it in mind. And why indeed should he value the commendation of such people who are not able even to please themselves? Okay, this guy is now cooking with the self-satisfaction thing because yeah, I never imagined myself not scrolling, not giving a shit about other people's lives, and just being obsessed with my passion to the extent that I'm literally like fucking left with a broken body in a fucking foreign country, and um, r- even uncertain of my food money, and I still don't give a shit because all I can control is now, and all I can control is reading and writing and applying for 800 jobs that I have been rejected. That other than that is nothing in my power. I can literally uh, go and jack off to porn all day to get my fucking dopamine rush and cheat my brain into the passage of time faster because of dopamine, and the if you make it a routine, you literally process time slower, and it goes by faster, you know. That's why like old people do fucking backflips or do weird things because the more routine your life has become, the more the faster you process time, and by the elimination of things, you literally turn 70 having done everything in fucking history of a 70 years old. So you need new hobbies to feel as if time is not passing as fast as you think it's passing, because time is just passing to a 20 years old to a 70 years old the same, but how you process time internally differs. And that saddens me that some people live till they are 78 years old, then they don't understand their own kind of body enough to know how they process time. A professor of mine who is literally fucking brilliant in a fucking nationwide phenomenon in law, he literally told me, as you grow old, um, you see time as not um, pass faster, and he didn't even know why. He felt as if it's you become wise, or you become you go closer, you get closer to death or anything. No, it's just simple fucking neuroscience. You can literally read on this shit for 2 hours, and that's just how your brain works, because you're accustomed to so many things that there is no novelty. And because you are accustomed to this routine, you feel as if time is flying. Time is not fucking flying. Your processing of the time is screwed. But yeah. Yeah, as one viewer can say, because I'm literally doing this for documentation, because if I actually wanted the fucking views, I would read and yeah, have a fucking audiobook of this shit rather than my own commentary. I'm documenting this to see how my own kind of processing things evolves throughout time if I literally don't starve to fucking death. But yeah, for one viewer in the future, um, yeah, it just so bothers me that so many people are just not only just stupid based on cognitive contribution of the intelligence, but also they don't even actually bother to learn about their own fucking body functions. You don't need to be fucking a psychiatrist. You just need to understand what affects your life. Time affects your life. Understand how you process it. Pain affects your time. Time and life. Learn about how you process pain. It's just it just takes 1 week to learn about your whole body functions and how to manipulate that for your actual good. But yeah. Be not unwilling, selfish, unadvised, or passionate in anything you do. The fuck? Passionate in anything you do? Okay, it's the letting go effect, okay? Do not affect quaintness, and points of wit, neither talk nor meddle more than is necessary. Take care that the divinity within you has a creditable charge to preside over, that you appear in the character of your sex and age, act like a Roman emperor that loves his country, and be always in a readiness to quit the field at the first summons. Funny enough, he doesn't say to lose the crown. He says, be at peace when you die, because that's inevitable. But losing the crown, no, that's not inevitable. Funny guy. And ere you claim you discharge, manage your credit so that you need neither swear yourself nor want a voucher. Let your air be cheerful. Depend not upon external supports, says an emperor, nor beg your tranquility of another. This is true though, because if you cannot live with yourself, why the fuck would anyone else? So, yeah. And in a word, never throw away your legs to stand upon crutches. Interesting. If in the whole compass of human life you find anything preferable to justice and truth, to temperance and fortitude, to a mind self satisfied with its own rational conduct, and entirely resigned to fate, if I say, you know anything better than this, turn to it with your whole soul and enjoy it, accounting it the best. But if there is nothing more valuable than the divinity implanted within you, and this is master of its appetites, examines all impressions, and has detached itself from the senses, as Socrates used to say, and show itself submissive to the governments of the gods, and helpful and benevolent to mankind. If all things are trifles compared with this, give way to nothing else, for if you are once inclined to any such things, it will no longer be in your power to give your undivided preference to what is your own peculiar good. For it is not lawful that anything of another kind or nature, as either popular applause or power or riches or pleasures, should be suffered to contest with what is rationally and politically good. Okay, this is literally papers, not papers, but purpose above pussy and paper. But yeah, I call it the trinity of human condition: purpose, pussy, and paper. Pussy is literally the functional physicality of sex or whatever, but also the connections you make with other people. And paper is just the materialistic means to facilitate reaching your purpose. So, yeah. And funny enough, most people have pussy in kind of connections, family, wife, children, and a little bit of materialistic gain with everything else like money, assets, and fame, credentials, and everything. But they don't ever find their purpose. And then you have fucking Alex Hormozy that turns fucking 34 and literally is still chasing money because his purpose is literally just hoarding more money. And that's not gonna satiate him at all because he can literally write 50 other books, but the purpose is just missing. And yeah, literally he's gonna upload videos on fucking YouTube begging for people to validate his existence because because you're not satisfied of your own kind of existence. But yeah. And funny enough for me is that I have purpose, and Yeah, the pussy and the money paper are missing, but that's how it goes. At 25, most people don't have any of that, so at least I have the purpose. So yeah. All these things, if but for a while, they begin to please, presently prevail. Okay, my guy is literally fucking alliteration. Okay. And pervert a man's mind. Let your choice therefore run all one way, and be bold and reasonable and resolute for that which is best. Now, what is profitable is best, if that means profitable to man as he is a rational being, stand to it. But if it means profitable to him as a mere animal, reject it, and keep your judgment without arrogance. Only take care to make inquiry secure. This is another interesting thing about him because he addresses himself by the half of the book, but the second half of the book or meditations by book 6, he literally turns toward the fucking professor talking to future audience. But yeah, think nothing of for your interest which makes you break your word. Quit your modesty, hate, suspect, or curse any person, or inclines you to any practice which will not bear the light and look the world in the face. For he that values his mind and the worship of his divinity before all other things need act no tragic part, laments under no misfortune, and wants neither solitude nor company, and which is still more, he will neither fly from life nor pursue it, but it but is perfectly indifferent about the length or shortness of the time in which his soul shall be encompassed by his body. Okay, this is absolute copium against the inevitable because if you pursue life, death is gonna surprise you, so you're gonna be, yeah, disappointed. And if you pursue death, you are gonna literally, it's gonna cost you the surprises of life that you could have had. So basically, he is just a fatalist, or what Nietzsche calls it, amor fati, in love with his destiny and fate. But Nietzsche, again, is another interesting guy because he literally fucking killed God because he couldn't propose to his fiance, not fiance, like crush, called Salome. And he proposed to Salome through his friend, who also was evolved or had a crush on Salome. So yeah, basically, my guy couldn't get a pussy, so he killed God. Yeah. And okay, where is it? And if he were to expire this moment, he is as ready for it as for any other action that may be performed with modesty and decency. Okay, yeah, he is just coping with how life functions. Because what's the alternative? Begging to die and or literally clinging onto life as if it's not in your control anyways. So might as well make peace with it. For all his life long, this is his only care, that his mind may always be occupied as befits a rational and social creature. If you examine a man that has been well disciplined and purified by philosophy, you will find nothing that is unsound, foul, or false in him. Death can never surprise his life. See? Surprise. Literally, the word explicitly used here because the surprise effect is what he wants to cope against. But yeah, his life as imperfect, so that nobody can say he goes off the stage before his part is quite played. Besides, there is in him nothing servile, okay, I need to look up that word, it looks interesting word, or affected. He neither attaches himself too closely to others nor keeps aloof from them. He is neither responsible to them nor does he avoid them. Hold in honor your opinionative faculty, for this alone is able to prevent any opinion from originating in your guiding principle that is contrary to nature or the proper constitution of a rational creature. Now, a rational constitution enjoins us to do nothing rashly, and to be kindly disposed towards men, and to submit willingly to the gods. As for other speculations, throw them all out of your head, accepting, those few prospects above mentioned, remembering withal that every man's life lies all within the present, which is but a point of time, and the past is spent, and the future is uncertain. Some futures are not as uncertain. This is total like poetry pussy talk, because 100% certainty, I know in 5 seconds I'm alive. 99.9, I know I'm alive in 5 minutes. It just gets reduced, because the variables are more. I never bought this bullshit that the future is uncertain. The future is not uncertain. The future has variables that are uncertain, and those variables vary based on how further in the future you are. In 5 years, I don't know which country I'm gonna be at, even if I'm gonna be alive or not, because the variables are very, very different. But in 1 month, I know in which country I am. I know in which city I am. In 2 months, it just depends on how far deep in the future you go. And the bullshit that future is uncertain is just total bullshit, because statistically looking at it, it is not. It is just so many variables that make it seem as if it's just random. It's not random, it's just variables aligning in a line. And it's linear. It's not non-linear, but yeah. Where is this? Life moves in a very narrow compass. Yeah, it's linear. Yes, and men live in a small corner of the world too, and the most lasting fame will stretch but to a sorry extent. For alas, poor transitory mortals who hand it down know little even of themselves, much less of those who died long before their time. So basically, why are you an emperor now? Because you die anyways. Go eat shit and write your philosophy. Totally fine. Why become an emperor and have a fucking villa at the sea? If it all ends, You see the contradictions. I understand his perspective that he literally says, after all the years, you're gonna die. But what he doesn't understand is that you die having lived internally infinity of moments. It's not just 70 years in 70,000, let's say 7,000 age of universe. No, it's infinity experienced every single second of every single day inside that ends. the experience of infinity, even now I'm literally reading this book for 45 minutes, right? But it doesn't feel like 45 minutes to my brain because I'm engaging with the content, thinking about it, absorbing the information, and this is kind of a dopamine release for my brain that it feels as if it's 5 minutes. But in the objective passage of time, it's been 45 fucking minutes, you know? So stretch this towards 70 years. 70 years is not gonna be like 70 years in the external world. It's gonna be in the infinity of time experienced internally. But yeah, people are just so I don't know like what's the reason, but this is just so obvious. People still don't fucking understand this. But yeah, to the forging hints you may add this which follows. Make for yourself a particular description and definition of every object that presents itself to your mind, that you may thoroughly contemplate it in its own nature, bare and naked, wholly and separately, and in your own mind call itself and the parts of which it is composed, and into which it will be resolved, by its own and proper name, for nothing is so likely to raise the mind to a pitch of greatness as the power truly and methodically to examine and consider all things that happen in this life, and so to penetrate into their natures as to apprehend at once what sort of purpose each thing serves, and what sort of universe makes us use of it, what value it bears to the whole, and what to man, who is a citizen of that great capital, in respect of which all other towns are no more than single families. What is this object which makes an impression on me? How long can it last? What virtue does it require of me? Is it good nature, fortitude, truth, simplicity, self-sufficiency, or any of the rest? On each occasion, a man should be ready to pronounce, "This was sent me by heaven, this by destiny, sent to me." Yeah. This by destiny, or the combinations of fate, or by one of the same clan, or family, or company as myself. Who knows not what is natural for him? But I do know. Therefore, I am just and friendly to him, and treat him according to the natural laws of our communion. However, in things indifferent, I take care to rate them according to their their respective value. If you will be governed by reason and manage what lies before you with industry, vigor and temper, if you will not run out after new distraction, but keep your divinity pure, even as though you must at once render it up again, your mind staunch and well disciplined, as if this trial of behavior were your last, and if you will but cleave to this, and be true to the best of yourself, fearing and desiring nothing, but living up to your nature, standing boldly by the truth of your word, and satisfied therewith, then you will be a happy man. But the whole world cannot hinder you from so doing. To some extent, I agree, but yeah, imagine when you're literally have a broken body and in a foreign country that yeah, you've been rejected 800 times by jobs despite your credentials, skills, and talents and everything. Yeah, cannot hinder you from doing if you're an emperor, but and your basics are covered. If I had guaranteed shelter and food, I wouldn't give a shit about anything any any day. But the fact is, it's not. So yeah. As surgeons always have their instruments and knives ready for sudden occasions, so be you always furnished with rules and principles to let you into the knowledge of things human and divine, remembering even in your slightest action the connection these two have with each other, for without a regard for things divine, you will fail in your behavior towards men. And again, the reasoning holds for the other side of the argument. Wander at random no longer. Alas, you have no time left to pursue your diary, to read over the Greek and Roman history, or so much as your own commonplace book, which you collected to serve you when you were old. Hasten then towards the goal. Do not flatter and deceive yourself. Come to your own aid while yet you may, if you have a kindness for yourself. Men do not know in how many senses they can take the words to steal, to buy, to sow, to be quiet, to see what should be done. For this is not affected by eyes, but by another kind of vision. There are three things which belong to man: body, soul, and mind. Sensation belongs to the body, impulse to the soul, and reason to the mind. Basically, what they call it in neo kind of religious interpretation of God, Son, and the Holy Spirit. God is the mind, Son is the body, the Holy Spirit is the soul. But yeah, to have the senses stamped with the impression of an object is common to brutes and cattle. To be hurried and convulsed with passion is the quality of beasts of prey and men of pleasure, such as Phalaris and Nero, of atheists and traitors too, and one those who do not care. Okay, how long is this shit? Okay, my throat is kind of getting sore. I think it's 10 minutes, but my throat literally says objectively it's been 52 minutes. So yeah, not care what they do when no man sees them. Now, since these qualities are common, let us find out the mark of a man of probity. Okay, I need to look up that word. His distinction then lies in letting reason guide his practice, in contentment with all that is allotted him, keeping pure the divinity within him, untroubled by a crowd of appearances, preserving it tranquil, and obeying it as a God. This guy loves the word God, but yeah. He is all truth in his words and justice in his actions. And if the whole world should disbelieve his integrity, dispute his character, and question his happiness, he would neither take it ill in the least, nor turn aside from that path that leads to the aim of the life, towards which he must move pure, calm, well prepared, and with perfect resignation in his fate. I totally agree with this shit because at this point, if I have, not if, when I have guaranteed fucking food and shelter, I'm gonna literally, fuck this, I'm gonna literally spend my rest of my life just, yeah, fucking daily pussy and writing, and that's it. That's my happiness. The pussy part is literally just for the dopamine regulation, and as like fucking Picasso did it as inspiration for the arts, writing, and everything. Because although I'm not dating anymore like extensively as before, I'm literally still carving into the emotional resources that I cultivated while dating so many women um, for my writing. So I use that as fuel. But other than that, I don't give a shit about fame or anything else. It's just I write till I die. I fuck daily pussy, and I'm fed and fucking sheltered. That's about it. But yeah, that's the book 3, was it? Yeah, book 3. Until the next one.